Okay, so let's dive right in. Today we're talking about something that's deeply personal for so many, but is also a huge, urgent issue: male loneliness. You've probably heard it called a silent epidemic, and that's exactly what it is. We're going to unpack the scale of the problem, what's causing it, the real-world consequences, and what we can actually do about it.
To really get a handle on this, let's not start with data or statistics. Let's start with a story. This is about a man named Keith. An old friend of his got a text out of the blue, and it was the first time they'd connected in over a year. It was one of those moments where it felt like no time had passed at all.
But looking back, it's so clear that text was, well, it was more than just a text. It was a lifeline. See, Keith had family. He had people around him. But what he was really missing was that genuine male companionship, that connection that goes deeper than just surface-level chat. He was fighting his battle alone, in a crowd.
And that's the thing. Keith's story, it's not some one-off. It's actually a personal window into this massive trend happening all over society. That feeling he had, researchers are now measuring it. And honestly, the numbers are pretty staggering.
So just how big is this problem really? I mean, what are the actual numbers saying? That isolation Keith was feeling, it turns out it's part of a very clear and, frankly, very troubling pattern.
Well, check this out. A recent Gallup poll found that one in four young American guys under 35 said they felt lonely a lot of the previous day. A quarter of young men. Just let that sink in for a second.
And this chart right here, it really puts things into perspective. That 25% for young men in the US is way higher than the 18% for young women. And look at this, it's a whole 10 points higher than the median for guys in 38 other developed countries. So yes, something's definitely going on here in the States. And look, this isn't something that just popped up overnight. This has been building for decades. Just look at this timeline. Back in 1990, most guys had a solid group of friends, 6 or more. Fast forward to 2021, and that number is cut in half. But the really shocking part, the number of men who say they have 0 close friends, that's shot up 5 times since 1990. Have you kind of noticed the shift in your own life, or with the guys you know?
Okay, so the big question is, why? Why is this happening? The numbers tell us what's going on, but to understand the why, we've got to dig a little deeper into our culture and how society has changed. So researchers have found that men's friendships are often built differently. A lot of the time, they're what you'd call activity-based. You get together to watch the game, play video games, that kind of thing. And that's great, but what happens when the activity goes away? The friendship can fizzle out because the bond was more about the doing than the deep, emotional sharing. It's often tied to those old-school ideas where men are discouraged from being vulnerable.
Yeah, it's a really complex mix of things. You've got that cultural pressure to just man up and not show weakness. And then think about it. Those community hubs, the local clubs and organizations, a lot of them are disappearing. Plus, so much of our communication is digital now, and let's be honest, a text thread just isn't the same as a real conversation. And for a lot of guys, life just gets in the way. Work, family, and friendships kind of fall to the bottom of the to-do list.
And we have to be really clear about this. This is not just about feeling a bit down or having nothing to do on a weekend. No, loneliness is a serious public health crisis. It has real, measurable, physical effects on your body. It literally gets under your skin.
I mean, just look at this quote. It's wild. Experts are saying that being chronically lonely is as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. 15. We all know how bad smoking is, so that really tells you how seriously the medical community is taking this.
And the data totally backs this up. The CDC and other major studies have linked being socially isolated to some really scary stuff. We're talking a 29% higher risk of heart disease, a 32% higher risk of stroke, and get this, a 50% increased risk of developing dementia. It's no joke.
Okay, so that's the bad news. But what's the good news? How are guys actually pushing back against this trend? Because people are. And some really cool intentional solutions are popping up all over the place.
So here's one of them that's really taking off. It's an organization called F3. It stands for Fitness, Fellowship, and Faith. Basically, it's free, peer-led workouts for men held outdoors. The whole idea is to create this natural space for guys to build camaraderie. And you hear these incredible stories from the guys who join. Take Brandon here. He said he first went just to get in shape, but he ended up finding so much more. It's a common theme you hear. Guys come for the fitness, but they stay for the fellowship. They find that real, authentic connection they didn't even realize they were missing.
But look, F3 is just one example. It's one tool in the toolbox. Pushing back against loneliness isn't a one-size-fits-all thing.
Not everyone wants to wake up at dawn and do burpees, and that is totally fine. The point is finding your path to connection, whatever that looks like.
And that's really the most important thing to remember. There is no magic bullet here. The way you find connection is going to be unique to you. What works for one person might be a book club. For another, it's volunteering. It has to be personal.
So, where do you start? Well, experts at UCLA Health have a pretty simple 3-step plan. First, just take a minute to think about your own loneliness. When does it hit you the hardest? Look for the patterns. Second, what do you actually like to do? Find an activity you enjoy, because that's where you'll find people who like it too. And third, you have to be intentional. Actually schedule social time. Put it in your calendar, just like a work meeting. Make it a priority.
Right, so the idea is to have a bunch of different options. Maybe it's a skill-based thing like a cooking class or woodworking. Or maybe you're more service-oriented and you could volunteer or coach a kids team. It could even be a men's support group or professional therapy. The activity itself, that's just the excuse. It's the doorway to what really matters, getting face-to-face with other people.
So at the end of the day, it all boils down to one intentional act. Maybe that's for yourself, finding a new group, or maybe it's reaching out to someone else you know. Just think, like Keith, there are probably people in your own life just waiting for a text, a call, some kind of invitation. So the real question is, who in your life is waiting for you to connect?